Let's just jump right into this explainer because today we are looking at a real-world location that completely, literally shatters our conventional understanding of what a community looks like. If you're fascinated by brilliant human adaptation and geography that kind of bends the rules of reality, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're exploring a phenomenon that sounds like pure fiction, but I promise you it's 100% real. So, I want you to start by just asking yourself this. What if you never went outside? Seriously, imagine waking up and realizing that going to the grocery store, visiting the doctor, dropping your kids off at school, or even heading to church never once required you to put on a winter coat or even step foot out your front door. It sounds exactly like, I don't know, a sci-fi movie pitch about a sealed-off colony on Mars, right? But no, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now, right here on Earth. Section 1. The town under one roof. Okay, so we're transitioning from that wild sci-fi premise into the very real, very grounded reality of the American North. Welcome to Whittier, Alaska. Tucked away deep within this incredibly rugged, unforgiving landscape, you'll find this seemingly impossible place. It is a town that exists entirely under a single roof. Just think about that for a second. An entire municipality, geographically isolated, functioning as a complete society without ever needing to brave the great outdoors. Crazy, right? Now, to really understand how this works, we have to look at the scale of this place. 200. That number right there represents the entire population of Whittier. So we're talking about an incredibly small, uniquely isolated community. 200 residents make up the whole town. But actually, scratch that. It's not just the small population that makes Whittier so fascinating. It's exactly where those 200 people lay their heads at night. What's truly incredible, like mind-blowing really, is that nearly all 200 of those residents live inside the exact same 14-story building. Every family, every worker, almost the entire population of the town just stacked vertically within these 14 floors. They aren't spread out across a valley or some sprawling grid of suburban streets. Nope, they share the same walls, the same foundation, and the exact same roof. Section 2. Inside the vertical city. Okay. Let's dive into this and explore exactly how a single building successfully functions as an entire municipality. Because you can't just shove 200 people into a tower and call it a town, right? You need infrastructure, you need systems. Well, inside this vertical city, residents have access to their own post office, a grocery store, a medical clinic, and a small church. There's even a school that is physically connected to the building itself. This proves we're not just looking at a supersized apartment complex. This is a fully functioning, completely self-contained community. You can literally run all of your daily errands, get medical care, and educate your kids just by walking down the hallway or hopping in the elevator. Section 3. Surviving brutal Alaskan winters. But why go through the trouble of building a town this way in the first place? Well, we have to shift our focus to the extreme environmental factors that make living in a vertical, enclosed city not just some quirky lifestyle choice, but an absolute necessity for survival. It really all comes down to the brutal environment. Imagine waking up in the middle of a harsh Alaskan winter. Outside, snow is piling up 10 feet high. The temperatures are sub-zero, and the winds are absolutely howling. For most of us, that means a freezing, miserable commute just to get to the store or drop the kids at class. But for the residents inside, they just walk to the connected school or the grocery store down the hall. No coat needed. It's literally just another Tuesday for them. And because everything is so perfectly contained and systematically organized, some residents can easily go for weeks at a time, weeks, without ever stepping outside into that harsh Alaskan environment. They can completely bypass the geographical challenges of the region. It's an incredibly efficient way to live when the world outside your window is essentially trying to freeze you solid. Section 4. A World War II relic. Now, I know the burning question you all have right now. How on earth did a whole town end up in one building in the first place? Well, the historical origins of this massive structure are just as fascinating as the community living inside it today. This 14-story tower was never originally meant to be a cozy community hub. During World War II, it was constructed purely as military barracks. But post-war, the military eventually packed up and left the area. The remaining residents were left with a choice, and they quickly realized that staying concentrated in this one large, incredibly sturdy building was simply the most efficient way to survive the brutal elements. They took a purely functional military structure and adapted it to serve as their permanent shield against nature. Talk about making it work. Section 5. The ultimate human adaptation. So this isn't just a story about a weird building in Alaska. It ties into a much broader, deeply fascinating theme about human resilience. It shows exactly how far we're willing to adapt our environments to survive in isolated, difficult climates. The absolute crucial point here is that these people completely rethought what a town actually looks like. Instead of clinging to the traditional idea of sprawling streets, separate single-family houses, and long driveways, they traded all of that for a vertical life. A life that strategically prioritizes warmth, safety, and ultimate convenience over physical space. It is a total masterclass in geographical problem solving. But it does leave us with a massive psychological question to end this explainer on. Could you handle living in the exact same building as your boss, your teacher, and your mailman for months at a time? Could you handle the extreme proximity to your neighbors, or would the lack of outside time drive you a little crazy? Take a moment to really think about whether you could trade the open air for the ultimate convenience. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the vertical city of Whittier, Alaska, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.